What's up, guys? My name is Melanie Tree. Today I promised that we'll be talking about the Take It Down Act that was signed last month now by Donald Trump and his wife Melania Trump, which is so cool. Melania Trump is absolutely amazing. I am a huge fan of her. She always serves with every single look. Every single look, she's always so pieced together, and she's so cool. She's so cool. She's so cool. I don't care whatever side you're on the political aisle. We all gotta admit, her style absolutely freaking rocks. I am jealous. I wish I could serve as much as her. But I want to talk about the Take It Down Act, and I don't see a lot of people reporting about it and going into detail about the Take It Down Act. So I want to be that person for you, talking about the Take It Down Act and all of the little details in between on it's not really being reported on the Take It Down Act. So just get friggin' started. So the Take It Down Act was signed May 19th, 2025, which was a happy early birthday present for me, because I know that they've been trying to pass this act for about a year, a little over a year. It was first introduced in 2024 by Republican Senator Ted Cruz. It's essentially making people creating AI-generated pictures of minors, and I believe others that are not minors as well. Take It Down Act is to make it a federal crime to create AI-generated explicit pictures of someone, minor or non-minor. Though this is mainly focused around minors, of course, because it is very closely related to CSAM, which CSAM is child sexual abuse material, which is online, on social media platforms, on porn websites and other websites, or just circling towards the victim themselves. But this is mainly focusing about the pictures that were created and posted online on websites and social media and other platforms as well. So beforehand, since 2022, Congress passed that AI-generated explicit pictures were considered a civil case, and it wasn't a federal criminal case. It wasn't like a serial killer that goes and murders people around different states, making it a federal crime. It's about civilly, you can prosecute them civilly, federally, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So it was a federal civil case, which diminishes the crime to the victims, because they can only sue them civilly for defamation of character, because these pedos, these creepy people, are making AI generated pictures of these victims, revenge porn to these victims, and these victims will have to spend a lot of money to get a lawyer that wants to prosecute this person, and then they have to relive the crime all over again just to see the person be sued for money and not them being put away, and these pedos can just go around and hurt other characters, other kids, other adults, because they only will lose thousands of dollars, and these are re-offending offenders, right? So they just can't stop themselves, and a lot of the victims, because it was civilly, they just didn't press charges because they saw no point, which is very, very unfortunate that they viewed it back then in 2022 that it was just a civil case and not federal criminal crime, okay? And this was modified and reintroduced by Republican Senator Josh Hawley, and it was also co-sponsored by Democrat Senator Amy, I'm gonna freaking botch this, Amy Klobuchar. So yeah, both people on different aisles politically saw that this would be an amazing bill, an amazing act for the president to sign May 19th. And also Melania Trump had a huge part in this as well, talking about it, and she really is very passionate about protecting children, and she also co-signed this as well because she was working to get this created. Also with this bill, the victim will have to notify the social media platforms, or law enforcement or their lawyer will notify these social media platforms and these websites being like, hey, there's this image of this person circling around on the internet. You need to take this down, and they have 48 hours to take it down, or they could be prosecuted as well for not having a quick act of taking down these harmful pictures of this survivor. We're not going to call them victims, they're survivors of these survivors circling around the internet. And these companies and these social media platforms, they also have to make noticeable effort that they removed copies that are circling the internet as well. They cannot just be like, oh, we took down the original source, yet there's copies also circling around. Oh well. No, they have to scourge the internet as well to make sure that all copies are deleted off the internet as well. These survivors are not going to be re-victimized again once they see this image of them floating down later on because someone made copies. Get your soda as well. I love soda and we need to caffeinate ourselves. So, quick soda break. Senator Cruz, which I mentioned earlier, was the one that first created, and of course with others, represented this bill. First in 2024, but then it needed to be modified. So the other two senators from different states helped modify this act. And this is what Senator Cruz had to say about the act. He says, "The passage of the Take It Down Act is a historic win in the fight to protect victims of revenge porn and deepfake abuse. This victory belongs first and foremost to the heroic survivors who share their stories, and the advocates who never gave up. By requiring social media companies to take down its abusive content quickly, we are sparing victims from repeated trauma and holding predators accountable. This day would not be possible without the courage and perseverance of Alliston Berry, Francisca Manny, Breeze Liu, and Brandon Guthrie, whose powerful voices drove this legislation forward. I am especially grateful to my colleagues, including Senator Amy Klobuchar, Representatives Maria Salazar, Representative Madeline Dean, First Lady Melania Trump, and the House leadership for locking arms in this critical mission to protect Americans from online exploitation." So he talked about survivors that first experienced this firsthand, and in the official about how it was created. The state government Commerce, they had a quote from Alliston Berry, who is a survivor of this, and she has been an all-time supporter throughout all this, wanting other survivors to feel confident that they can win, that they can share this, and that they can get this material off online. And Alliston Berry, this is a quote that they put on their official page of the Take It Down Act. It's, "When I was 14 years old, my life changed forever after a boy at my school used AI to create deepfake images of me. I knew I could never go back and undo what he did, but I wanted to do anything to prevent this from happening to others. With the passage of the Take It Down Act, we can protect future generations from having to experience the pain I went through. The outpouring support of this bill has been amazing to see, and I've been truly inspired by how so many America's leaders and major tech organizations have come together to promote this important cause. I am grateful to Senator Cruz and Senator Klobuchar for listening to my story, and to First Lady Melania Trump for helping bring even more attention to our efforts to turn this horrible situation into something good." And that is absolutely amazing that a 14-year-old girl, when she was first victimized by a freaking idiotic boy in her class that probably had no game, decided to ruin her life because she probably turned him down, which she should have, because he did that, which proves he definitely is not going to get any girls in the future at all. So he's a loser, and she's amazing, and she literally helped create an act in America that was signed by a freaking president and the First Lady of the United States of America. And this boy, sad, pathetic little male. I have no regrets. And this girl, since 14, talked to senators, probably talked to the president himself, the first lady, and advocated about this. She realized this was an issue and literally changed the world, literally set as turning point in the United States to address the situation that has been on the rise for years, ever since freaking COVID. It has been on the rise, and she finally got this addressed and made this a federal crime. And I hope that boy faces the consequences of his actions, because he most likely got turned down. He's a loser. So this boss, the Take It Down Act also states that even if the victim consented to the AI image to be created, does not mean they consented to it being posted online for the entire world to see, which I thought that was very smart to add that in, because I can see slimy predators and slimy lawyers being like, wait, this girl, this boy consented to this image being created. Probably they thought it was funny, or probably they thought it was going to be a different image, but then the predator later on made it an explicit image, but they did not consent to it being posted online for the entire world to see. And I thought that was very, very clever of them to write that down in the bill to make it clear that even if this image, even with the possibility of this image was consented by the survivor to be created, it did not mean that they consented to it being posted online on these websites for this predator to maybe even get money off of it, maybe to get more notoriety from the creepy gang, the pedo gang, and just wanted other people to tear down this poor survivor of this because they thought it would be funny, they wanted money, they wanted notoriety, or they wanted others to be infatuated by this young child, by this young adult as well. Now this act has been taken more notice since it's been signed. A lot of people didn't even know what CSAM, what revenge porn was until this bill, and then they started looking into it. They're like, wow, this is a real thing that's going on. And others probably sort of knew about this. They heard about it from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children or Operation Underground Railroad, and they're like, oh, okay, this is a thing, and I'm now aware about this thing, which is awesome, and that more people are noticing this and they are more aware of how to protect themselves and how to protect children. And it just makes me think that I bet there's probably images of me like that online, but I probably don't want to know. I don't want to know because I'm starting to be more in the public's eye, and I've definitely had really creepy people in my life that probably had pictures of me, screenshotted pictures of me on the internet before I even got the chance to block them, and they probably made some, and they're probably not posted online, but they're probably on their phone. It's just the world we live in, and it's very, very unfortunate that we live in this world that does this, and I'm just glad that this act is being signed and that it will be able to protect real survivors all around the United States, and that the law enforcement now have more of a gateway to charge at this head on and be more aware of this issue, that they can protect victims of what is going on. It's an absolutely amazing act, and it's been a long time coming. I've been knowing that this act was in the works since 2024, and I've been waiting around for it to be signed, and I was so excited when this act was signed. I was so excited because I knew the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I knew that these senators and these survivors have been working all around the clock to make this sign, to make this eligible, to pass Congress itself, which is a miracle because everything takes such a long time for Congress to pass. And they did not get discouraged when the act was first introduced in 2024, which I'm sure that they were working on it since 2023 or 2022, and it's been in the works since then. I'm most definitely 100% positive that that is the truth, and it's absolutely amazing that we are finally getting a head start, that people are noticing that this is an issue and that it's being addressed by the United States. It's giving the law enforcement, FBI, regular cops, regular people, it's giving the social social media the power and to have some form of decorum to make sure that this is not happening on their own websites, which it's very difficult for them because everyone has freedom of speech and there's millions on these websites, and you can't just monitor every single human being on what they do and what they post in the group chats that they are in. They are taking form, and they have stated X, Snapchat. We have issues with Snapchat. I have issues with Snapchat. I do not like Snapchat. But Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and so forth have all stated that they are in support of this bill and that they're going to try and do everything that they can to protect these survivors and take down these images within 48 hours. I'm sure that they have lots of interns and I bet they have a department just focusing on that, which is very hard. It is very hard to see people being victimized over and over and over again and having to be the one that takes it down and seeing those images, even if you know it's fake or not fake. AI is getting so good that it's hard to tell sometimes. It is really, really hard to tell sometimes. And it's amazing that these people are willing to do this, that they're willing to see these graphic content, because I'm sure there's a lot of them that are very, very, very graphic. And they're just forcing their own mental health to help these victims, to help these survivors through the darkest part of their life. This is probably the most horrendous thing that these people have faced, and they are willing to set aside their own mental health to help these, and that is absolutely amazing. That's why I always applaud every single law enforcement, every single first responder, the 911 dispatch, FBI agents, firefighters, everyone that has to see the most terrible part of society, and they still go at it every single day to try to help others. There's a lot of them that have been going at it for 20 plus years, and even when they're retired, they still help. Like, these people are amazing, and I can't wait to be one of those people. I can't wait to be a headfirst, a beacon of light to help change someone else's life, and hopefully you do as well. If you're watching this, you're very curious about this, and you're very curious on how you can help in being more informed and being a better member of society, which I applaud, and I will always keep this content going no matter what, because people deserve to know. The public deserves to be aware of what is happening. Parents, older siblings, people that don't even have family, but they want to help others. They want to be aware. They are curious on what is going on, and they are aware of the human trafficking issue, and they see that it's the biggest issue, but it keeps on being swept underneath the rug because it's too sad, and I just don't want to hear about it, and it's a foreign issue. It's not a foreign issue, it's an American issue. It is also other states' issue. But first, if we can fix this in America, if we can pin this down in America, other countries will surely copy us to try to stop this issue from happening and to solve the biggest dilemma in modern history. The biggest dilemma. It's not global warming, it's not freedom of speech, it's not COVID, it's human trafficking. It's people being slaves, and it's people being forced to do labor. It's people being forced to do sex. It's these minors that are being victimized over and over and over and over again, 15 plus times a day. 15 plus times a day. That's the freaking average. That's the average of these minors, of these young women, of these young guys and these young boys, and the they thems, and the people that just want to be free, the people that just want to be set free and not have to suffer the repercussions of their traffickers and these abusers that have them, of these people that want their freedom back, were born into this and never got the chance to know what freedom is. That's the biggest issue, and I'm tired of it being suppressed down by society because they don't want to talk about it, and it's too sad, and it's happening to other countries. It's not happening to America. That is just freaking bullcrap. That is freaking bullcrap, okay? This is the biggest issue. We need to solve the porn industry. We need to take that down because that's the contributing factor. Let's take that down. Let's take down the people that keep on buying, because you have to get rid of the buyer so there's no supply that is needed. You need to have higher sentences of these traffickers, of these pedophiles, of these people that are absorbing this but they never actually hurt a human being, but they are hurting the human being that is behind the screen because they are buying the content, they are viewing the content, which gives money to the traffickers that will keep on doing it, keep on supplying it so they can get that money. That is what we need to do, and we need more people to talk about it. We need more people to be aware, and we need more people running the stupid marathons to help raise awareness. We need more people walking those marathons. We need more people talking about it. We need Generation Z and Gen Alpha to forefront their focus on this, because then it will make the senators, it will make the legislators, it will make the president, it will make other leaders in other countries to be aware and hyper focus on this issue, because it is not just someone else's problem, it is our problem, because we have more slaves today than we ever had in history, of people being labor trafficked and people being sex trafficked. That is the biggest issue, and I'm tired of people saying, oh, I applaud you for doing this, you're braver than I could. I would never be able to do this, and look at my own kids and be like, wow, the world is effed. But I don't want to know, because I want to live in my happy little world, to be able to go home to my kids and be like, I know that they're safe, but someone else's kid out there is being sold. I don't understand that mental thought process of, I applaud that you can look at all these images, you can hear all these horrid things, and still look at kids and be like, wow, I'm glad that my kids are safe, but someone else's kid is being sold. What kind of mentality is that? Oh, I only care about my kids, but the kids down the block, I don't care what happens to them. What kind of mentality is that? That is so self-centered. That is so selfish. Like, I love people caring about it and talking about it. I love that. I love people being aware of the issues, actively consuming the media so they can protect their kids, because that is helping, because they are aware and they can tell other moms and other dads and other older siblings and others that are planning on having children what to look out for so they can protect their kids. I applaud that. But I don't applaud people sticking their head in the sand and not wanting to hear about it because it's too sad. No, it's another country's issue. I don't applaud that. That's so selfish and so self-centered. At least learn. At least learn about the issue. At least talk about it to the other moms in your mom group and your book club, and just helping others be aware about this issue, because I don't understand the mentality of, if I don't care about it, then I'm protecting my kids. If I don't care about it, I don't care what's happening to the other kid down the block. I'm caring about what's happening to my kid and that they are safe. We are at a point in history that we just can't think that way. We can't think about that. It's online now. If your kid has a tablet, if your kid has an iPad, if your kid has a computer, if your kid has a phone, the world has access to your child. It doesn't matter if you think that they're playing that game and they are safe. They will find your kid and they will actively try to communicate the kid. They will try to figure out what the age of your kid. They will try to figure out the race of your kid. They'll try to figure out if it's a boy and it's a girl, and where they live and where they go to school, and if they are in school and what grade of school are they in, so they can figure out the age and if it's their preferred victim. You just can't stick your head in the sand anymore. It's happening everywhere. It's the biggest issue, and I'm so tired of being like, oh, global warming's the biggest issue. Okay, we can work on that, but right now we need to focus on the biggest issue, because there's millions being sold everywhere around the world. America's the biggest buyer, and if we can stop that from happening in America, then we will replenish it from happening in all the other countries. Because you see all the world with the wars that we see everywhere else, these traffickers, they purposely go to these war zones, to these earthquakes, to these tsunamis, and find these kids that don't have parents, to find these kids that are roaming around the city trying to find their parents, and then they take the kids, feigning themselves as being someone that's helping them, and will take them to a place to get them checked out, make sure that they're safe. And actually these kids are being trafficked, and these kids are never seen again. That's the reality. So if you want to say that you want world peace, then you gotta solve human trafficking. You gotta solve human trafficking, because these kids are going missing. These kids are being victimized straight out of the womb. These kids are being sold everywhere. These kids are being sold online. These kids are being videotaped everywhere. These kids, most of them don't even know what freedom is like. We need to solve this. This is the biggest issue, and I'm sorry to rain on your parade, but you just cannot stick your head in the sand anymore. I want this generation to be fired up. I want you guys to be standing out in the streets yelling and talking about human trafficking, because it is happening to all communities. It's happening to every single race. It is happening to the LGBTQIA plus community. It's happening to the trans community. It's happening to the kids that are fresh out of the womb. It's happening to every single community in this world, worldwide. It's happening everywhere in every single corner of this world. So we need to focus on that. So I would love to see the left be rioted up as much as they are about global warming. I would love to see them yelling and screaming about trans rights and gay rights just as much as they're screaming about human trafficking. I would love the right to talk more about it and be talking about it rationally as well, but also emotionally, and setting out these bills for it to be passed, and that these law enforcement will be able to have more money to be able to address this issue. That's what I would love. I would love it to be the forefront, in that every single state will increase what happens to these predators that stalk these children. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see thousands and millions of people all around the world being found and saved. And that's what I'm striving to do. I want this to happen. I want this to be solved, because I truly believe if we can solve this, then we can solve all the other issues. We have solved really, really, really hard issues as Americans, as leaders and citizens of this world. So we can solve this. We can truly solve this, because I know that every time the public gets riled up about something, they talk about it so much that something happens. Like how they were riled up about people of same-sex marriages, saying that that's wrong, they're not being able to marry. So many people got riled up that bills and state laws were changed so they can marry, so they can love someone that they love without the consequences. That's what I love about America specifically, because if we put our heart into something, if we talk about it so much, that leaders will be sick and tired, and they will change the law, and it will change the course of history. Same as women's rights, that we got we threw ourselves into the street so we can vote, so we can be viewed equally. And we fought and we were punched so many times, and we were knocked down so many times, and we were called crazy, and that we were psycho, and that we were put in mental health wards because we wanted same rights and go to school. We talked about it so much, we threw ourselves in the street so we can have the same rights. That's what I love. If we all get riled up, if it's not just these leaders of these organizations getting riled up and talking about it, then we can truly change the course of history. If we just get everyone riled up, if we can get everyone talking about this, because there are millions of likes and there's millions of followers on these influencers, and all they're doing is posting about their daily lives. But they have millions of followings. So if we can get those millions of people all around the world talking about that, imagine the change that we can cause. Imagine that. Imagine that we'll be able to live in a society where no one is truly for sale. Imagine that. But wait, I guess I just gotta post a day about what I do, even though sometimes it's not even reality. What kind of society do we live in that gets millions of following, but someone that's talking about real issues doesn't get that? They don't get the millions of likes. They don't get the millions of followers. They don't get the millions of views, because they're not talking about how they woke up today, what they ate, where they went, what they bought. It doesn't make sense to me. No, I'm not trashing down people that are trying to make a living, because I know it is hard, especially as a college student, and how expensive things can get. But I want a perspective change. We can talk it about a way that the normal society doesn't get so sad about it, but they get riled up about the issue. That's what we can do, because it is reality, and reality is sad. But if we can just talk about it, if we can get millions of people riled up talking about it, then it will be a forefront of the issue. Then people and these leaders will have to talk about it. They'll have to sign these laws. They'll have to allow these police officers more money so they can go out, and they will have to change the laws to these perpetrators, these these victims can be safe while they're persecuting these perpetrators. These perpetrators never see the light of day because so many of them, they get out after what, like 5 years? Even though they destroyed the life of that one person, which we know that they have at least 13 plus victims underneath that line before that one victim that gets them prosecuted. Yeah, it's not all men, it's not all women, but there's so many that they hurt that it appears like it. That it appears like that. But oh well, I guess it's a far-fetched hope to want that. But even if it's a far-fetched hope, I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna talk to you guys that care. Alright, so I hope you have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this video and that everything's going right for you and that the world will just be on your side today and hopefully in the future as well. Have a good day. Goodbye.